Yeah, it's July 1st. So many of you will probably be thinking about, oh, Canada, and while I am thinking, oh, what are people doing with them? So, at some university in USA somewhere, like there's an Abraham Lincoln statue, and some students wanted it taken down. Okay, enough with the statues, people. Oh, you can't erase history by taking out statues, but you can learn from history, but and not make the same mistakes they did. It's that easy. For if there are like university students who want to have like that kind of idea, those are the students who shouldn't go to university. So, anyways, main story. So, ever since Defund the Police has been active, still is, and much more serious than Black Lives Matter actually. And so the thing is, like, sure, there have been a few cops who have been made bad decisions and decided to just shoot up people or like innocent people, and so and these people either were in the wrong or in the right, and so technically, if a law person, if a cop pulls you over or like stops you, so what you do is you abide by the law, say yes, okay, and you basically go with the cop, and if you try to like argue with the cop and say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, and like literally try to like resist arrest or anything like that, yeah, things will just get worse for you. Say you like, say you've been like accused of like doing something bad, and like you're like or like say like you're in the streets and someone frames you for like being a bad person, and yeah, it's good better to just deal with the stuff later, and yeah, because if you try to argue with police, yeah, they're just doing a job. Okay, now let's see. Gang activities have increased very gradually. Shootings, not involving police, have involved and murders and stabbings. There have been a few in Toronto right now. So all over like USA and Canada, bad things have been happening. And who's trained to stop these things? Police. Firefighters aren't trained. Medics aren't trained for this, and now I'm quite sure like other emergency medical services that are not trained to do it. Oh, it's just oh my god. Especially if like places like USA, people have the right to have their own guns, and that's not okay. In Canada, we don't we don't allow that. So, no. But there have been people who have been toting guns and illegally, and yeah, This kind of stuff should not be happening. And just because a few cops is just so basically every other cop who has not done anything bad is being ashamed on. This is the mistakes that people always make, and yeah. So if you looked at basically every single shooting, murder, homicide, stabbings, it's just terrible. And you gotta understand, police are actually spend quite a long time trying to figure everything out. Who was involved, who used what weapon, who was there, what was the crime, and when did it happen. So yeah. I'm still kind of uneasy trying to go into the Jane and Wilson area again ever since that shooting in that neighborhood in Toronto. So I know some good cops. Oh, you can't just assume everything. Because if we did not have police, guess what would happen? I'll let you guess on that. Well, let's just say answers bad things, terribly bad things. If I don't want to have to go into a big city, even for shopping or leisure or recreation, and having to worry about a gang member sticking a gun at me, or someone stabbing, or shooting nearby, and I do not want to have to worry about that stuff. And yeah. It's when the police were active, these kind of activities were low. But now defund the police was happening. These kind of activities are higher, much higher than usual. So especially if you do live in a big city, you should not have to worry about getting shot by a gang member. People threatening to stab you or stuff. No matter what your race or gender is. So this victim stuff does not always just happen to black people. So you could be a white person just walking down the street, and a whole bunch of people would come out and start shooting guns at you. And a reminder, last month happened in the Jane Wilson neighborhood. And according to a friend of mine, Jane Street has always been a terrible, like a dangerous neighborhood to live on. And Etobicoke too. Yes. So say if you didn't have anything to like defend yourself, and someone broke into your house, yeah, who are you gonna call? If there's no police in the area to stop it. I swear, you guys who are like trying to defund the police, think about the consequences of what I think the police actually have to solve, and what they have to like trying to do to help keep life safe in the community. Also, a recent one just last week in Seattle and Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, otherwise known as CHAZ. Shooting also happened there too. Yeah, that area only lasted for at least a week, 2 weeks, and then goodbye, back to Seattle. Just because people didn't want to abide by the law. So even though you might have those thoughts that, oh, they don't support our schools, they don't support and a whole bunch of others, and a whole bunch of other places, yeah. Well, actually, police are always out there at events. Especially with parades, they start them and make sure nothing goes wrong. We wanna. And if even those fibs about oh, they get free coffee and donuts, yeah, not always, but they're always doing their best to serve their community that they're in, and so they even stop people from speeding. So and there have been situations where people have been speeding at almost 200 kilometers. And that is an actual dangerous speed. You should not be doing that. This has happened to several places right outside this town and in Brampton. Where Tory Lanez is from, and also some other accidents and many places, and without the police and ambulance there, yeah. Some people would have just died, or they would have got away with bad things. So even if it's a hands-on crime, not involving weapons, but I don't know, sexuality or like sexual abuse or like harassment or even the or break-ins where and like when no one's home or yeah, police will also like also be like checking and also especially if someone like tries to like rip off somebody like using false information and try to gain money, especially people who like claim to be from Amazon or like eBay and try to scam people. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, then some police are like trained to do that kind of stuff, and not only do you have to do police training, you also have to be good at like coding and be good at like mathematics and some computer science stuff and technology. Just as an advice, if you ever see the cop around in your neighborhood driving by, just give them a wave or something. I do that all the time, and they always wave back or smile back. And, you know, it really makes people's days much better. If you're gonna like just blame it and say that, well, like you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you decided that you could commit a crime. Yeah, don't blame it on the police if you're committing a crime. It's not their fault. It'll be yours if you claim to make a mistake. But if a police officer shoots somebody or supposed to do the chokehold or pin down and it won't loosen up, yeah, and as the person dies afterwards, so it's that police's fault, not the entire police. Remember that. Just because one person did something wrong does not mean everyone else did like anything wrong as well. No. Thank you for your time. I will see you guys next video. Enjoy your Canada Day and 4th of July 3 days later.